Just jumped out of the shower. Just jumped out of the shower. The shower. Get to the shower. It's not a tumor. Hi, my name is Shaz, and I am in walkabout Shaz mode. This is another very cool t-shirt. What? Cool t-shirt. Laker sweats. I think we're ready to roll. How the Lakers had a good workout today. What did I do today? I did triceps, biceps, and chest. And today is the first day of the new split, where I actually, a lot of muscle building magazines, bodybuilding muscle means, are like, you should do arms the same day. I always split up arms, pushing and pulling muscles. So I always did the triceps on the chest day and the biceps on the back day, pulling and pushing. But then I was like, that shoulder, actually today was a good day too. The shoulder didn't really hurt. I've been doing 70s the last couple times. I'm going to stay at 70s until I really feel like I'm getting the whole range of motion. Sometimes you jump up. That's what is great about working out, is the humility. It's life lessons. Working out is just great for your character, because you can't do it consistently over time without developing character. Because what I notice in life, a little bit of success, and then your ego takes that success and multiplies it, and then you go like a sine wave up and down. Very few people are just flat, and the more creative, manic energy you have, your bigger highs, bigger lows. So you start growing, and I'm like, oh, Chaz is getting stronger, and then you exceed your expectations, and then if you hurt yourself, now you have to take it slow until you recover. I was very proud that I didn't jump up too fast the first couple of weeks, but about the fourth week, I think I jumped up too fast to 70-pound weights in each hand on the bench press, 70-pound dumbbells, and we're like, whoo, whoo. And so I kind of tweaked a lingering injury from wrestling. Just if you've done anything physical, you probably have a tweak or something that happened. Some of them, it's the difference between pain and you're always going to have a little bit of lingering pain if you did anything physical, I think. Like, I have a soft shoulder, a soft knee, parts of my neck. Wrestling's a lot about your neck. But it's okay, you live with it. And so with this, I tried to baby it a little bit. And so I thought bench press, chest and shoulders same day are both hitting that shoulder socket hard. So I thought, all right, so I'll do chest, which is how a lot of people do it. They do chest one day, back the other day, and one day they do arms, biceps and triceps, and the other day they'll do the shoulders. If you're doing a 2-day split, which is what I'm doing. So 2-day split meaning you do half the muscles one day, half muscles second day. I used to do a 3-day split. I used to do workout 3 days, off one day, and then repeat. I never really did anything according to the day of the week, because I've always done sales jobs or jobs that I'm working every day anyways. And if I'm not doing that, I'm not working. But I've never really, I always thought it was funny. I had a 9-to-5 job, but not, most often I didn't have a 9-to-5 job, but just to work when I want to work. And then I don't work as much as I can too. So I never really paid attention to Monday through Friday stuff. I do for my clients, not for my workouts, not for my personal stuff. It affects the real estate business. Weekends is definitely different than the weekdays, but personally, I don't care. I love Mondays. I love going out on a Sunday. Sunday night, local bars is a really good scene. Usually the locals is a quiet. There's this favorite wine bar I had in the village, and Sunday was like a locals type. They would like sometimes shut the doors and let the like people who are in there, if they know all the people, just hang out as long as we want. Really cool people. So the shoulder thing felt good today. I tucked the shoulders in. So stuff like that. It's like you could have sloppy form and you're just trying to get weight up, but as you start feeling like, oh, my body's, I'm a little bit older. I'm 36. I'm getting up. So tuck the shoulders in, the elbows in, because flaring is one cause of problem. And they look a little funny, but it's still chest. You're just doing tucked into chest, and the chest felt really good today. And then the fucking pump you get from like doing triceps and biceps, oh my gosh, because the whole muscle is like one side and the other side is pumped up. That's really why you work out as a dude, because when you're working out, you're pumping up the muscles full of blood, and you look bigger. And then when you look in the mirror, and you feel bigger, and you're just, Arnold Schwarzenegger's like, it's like sex. I don't know what type of sex he's having. It's not, I definitely prefer one over the other, but it is, that's ego. That shows you the man's ego. His self-improvement is his highest form of gratification. For me, I like sharing stuff with other people, pleasing other people. So sex is still above that, but But it looks cool. It's cool to see what I like about working out. I was thinking about that this morning when I was working out. Is when I wake up, I don't want to do it. And I'm like, fuck. But I usually get there by 8:30, 8:45. And then the girls start working out at 9. Bunch of cute girls. So it's like we have a group now. And now some dudes are working out too. Some older guys are working out today. I like watching the older guys work out because I told one guy, I was like, you're my inspiration. I want to be working out until the day I die. I want to, maybe not consistently. I'll take breaks and then I live. And then when I feel like I'm losing some strength, I go back to it. But off and on, the gym is probably going to be my health plan. It's a conversation with yourself and your ability, and then you see this growth. It'd be interesting to get to that point where I'm not getting any stronger. I'm always getting a little bit stronger every year. Not something crazy, but I'm sure when I get older, 50, 60, I don't know, I won't be able to lift the 70 pounds anymore. I want to get up to maybe 100-pound dumbbells. I got up to like 80, 85. I think I was doing 85 in New York when I was consistently doing it. Yeah. In the Army, I was only doing 55, 60-pound dumbbells in each hand. So little by little over my life. That's what it is. It's like I'm not trying to do something quick. It's just a meditation, and you do get stronger over this slow and steady meditation. So this morning I was like, going to the gym is to kill the lazy man. Not in a bad way. I like lazy man. Stone man is lazy man. I like to combine them both. I like to smoke before I go. I don't do that here because I can't smoke in my folks. I can smoke in my folks' house, but we're arguing enough about other stuff. No reason to add that. I don't need it that much. We are they voted for Trump and have a lot of other concepts that we disagree with in their mind. So we'll fight our battles one at a time, slowly but steadily, while not losing the love we have for each other. Not even a battle. We had a conversation this morning, more of a dialogue. Let's just keep the dialogue going. We're learning about each other. So I don't smoke before I go work out. I like doing that because I think it's inflammation. It's a little more challenging. Smoking, putting on a book on tape, I really zone through the workout. Sometimes it gets boring and you just like, if you're really just trying to grind to put on weight, I remember like a month, 2 months, I'm just zoned out when I'm working out. You get stronger, but that's one way to do it. And another way to do it is to really be with the pain and really be if you really want to, like I'm coming back from a layoff, your mind wants to be there because like this, I tweaked my shoulder and it actually takes concentration. It actually takes focus. Every time you're doing your sets and you're lifting the weight, you're supposed to be paying attention because how do you know when you're supposed to go up in weight? Like I've been paying close attention to my form of my bench press. And I'm like, because you want to know if I'm not getting stronger, and sometimes stronger isn't like going from 65 to 70 to 75 pounds each time, especially with me since I'm doing 2 days on, 1 day off. Every 3-4 days I'm hitting those bench press again. Every 3 days really. So I notice the strength, but it's a lot more subtle. Like when I first did 70s, I could barely pump out that last. I do 12, 10, and 8. And that last 8, I could get halfway and I'd have to stop. I'd drop it. So now I can actually do 12, 10, 8. And then if you can do them, also is your form good because it takes more energy to do good form. So I'm tucking in the shoulders, going slower. A buddy of mine used to call it ego lifting in high school. I didn't work out much in high school, but a little bit. Everything I know is just picked up over the years. Ego lifting is just throwing the weights up. It's okay to do that sometimes if you're just trying to, because there's all these different ways to motivate yourself. You're just trying to jump up to that next weight. You're like, all right, throw it up, see if you can get it. Don't hurt yourself, watch out. But right now with the 70s to baby my chest, every time I try to do a little bit better form, a little bit slower up and down. Really feel where it is. Feel if the shoulders being activated or if it's just the chest, tucking in the elbows so more of the chest. And then I did my overhead things, my overhead flies, where you lay on your back and instead of normal flies, you go all the way back, all the way over, and then one. So this movement, this is when you don't want to ego lift it. You really want to be in control because you could hurt yourself. It's a funny movement, a lot of shoulder movement, but I think it strengthens the shoulder socket. But so I don't jump up on weights. I'm only doing 35s right now. But actually, last time when my shoulder was starting to act up, when I would do that, I would just do one and I'd feel pain. And it's a difference between, that's all of these little things that you get from working out. Just awareness of your body, the difference between soreness of the muscle because it's growing and something that's hurting you. So when I would do that the last couple times, I would feel the pain, not muscle, but sharp pain. And I was like, oh, that's not good. Today I did it with a little bit lighter weight. and I didn't feel that. So I just was able to exhaust my chest a little bit. So that's going to build up muscle around this guy and let him recuperate. Then I also think the splitting the set between putting the shoulders tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to do back, shoulders, and legs. We'll see how that feels. Yeah, today was good though. Today was good. I was working out next to the girls today, and they're like, I don't know. There's something going on. What I've noticed about girls is if you're on their radar, they'll figure it out. But if I try something, I might fuck it up. So maybe I might just like say what's up if we're like around when I'm working out. The thing is when I get there, I stretch for about a half hour, 20, 30 minutes, and then I work out for 30 minutes. So I stretch. That's why it's like man yoga. I stretch as much as I work out almost. That's just a lifelong, like I've developed this little routine. Some of the wrestling stuff I would do, some of the army stuff I would do. I've never really been flexible, so when I start hitting the gym, I try to work on my flexibility, and I can never touch my toes. So after like that really is slow and steady, and you have to really stretch into the pain with someone like, I think I have tight hamstrings. I've been a runner all my life. I was on my army run team, and I couldn't. For our company, I represented our company with like 5 other dudes. Can't touch my toes, but I could run with them all. I'm thinking I'm going to keep, because I've been putting on some muscle, but also putting on some fat. Probably more muscle than fat, but I jumped up to like, I'm 180, 82 on the scale now, with all my clothes on, but still. So, I think I'm going to keep through December busting my ass. And that's also what I like about working out. It's like goal setting a plan, and then you see the results physically manifesting. It's growing a garden, but the garden is your fucking body. It's like working on a car, but the car is your fucking body. It's cool. It's a good hobby. That's what it is. I look at it like a hobby. And when people get into it, it's funny how you can tell if someone's more ego. Oh, I'm just trying to get the mad gains for the chicks, or if someone's more like, I try to do things for the sake of doing them, the wisdom and the education, and then everything else is just bonus. Do it the right way, you'll grow, and then you get that confidence, and then that confidence is that nice way to add to your attractiveness to the opposite sex, which makes everything else just greases the wheels a little bit. And that's when people like get mad at meatheads or this and that. There's other aspects of their personality, maybe ego and other stuff, which is kind of negative, but the effort, like that's why I respect Arnold Schwarzenegger, despite thinking that he's not a good role model for myself personally, is that it takes work and it takes a certain level of intelligence to get strong without hurting yourself and to do it consistently. So it takes a lot of good characteristics that I like in a person that I try to emulate. But there's other ones which he displays that I don't like. But that's a separate conversation. So you have to give people credit. Like sometimes I get typecast. When I get bigger and stronger, I was in Puerto Rico and some girl was like, "Oh, I just thought you're a meathead." And I was like, "Well, I've never been called that before, but I guess I was getting big enough where people would call me a meathead." I was like, "Oh, that's funny." And is that why you're with me? No, she wasn't. I had to hit her with a little bit of love and hippiness and shit like that. And then what she did is she said, "Hey, you want to go drink some wine? We got a bottle. We sat by the beach." And then she's like, "You want to go check out my hair salon?" We went to her hair salon. She had a key. She has her own little hair salon on the island. She's some white girl with dreads, so some hippie white girl. Really beautiful girl. I really want to hit her up. I hit her up this last year. She has a really great energy. Just calm, peaceful. Told her about the Tao I was writing and the stuff I was doing this year. She was really supportive, receptive. Girls like that will correct you because I was a little bit immature in some of the ways I approached her, and then she's like queens like that, women who really control their own energy. So I was like, "No, I'm not." I acted stupid once. She just shut me down quick. She was like, "No, don't do that." I was like, sometimes it's too much, and that's where you learn. She learns from me. I learned from her. We were about to have sex, and women don't know why guys do this. What is this? Fucking 15 minutes of Shaz just ranting. That's good. I have the whole weekend. I didn't. This is Monday. Monday, what, the 17th? Yeah, Monday the 17th, 12:15. We're gonna do 6 hours today. The whole weekend I didn't talk. I'm used to the videos, and after I finish my life review, I'm gonna have to do this every day, just on whatever, as I run for the presidency of the United States. But yeah, what was I gonna say? I was probably gonna share too much information. We she were having sex, and girls, I read this online. They're like, why do you tap our ass, guys? Why do you tap our ass with your dick when you're about to have sex? Or but for me personally, and some guys, every guy's different, is we're trying to give you the maximum pleasure. And as we're getting aroused, there's not erect, semi-erect, and really fully your adolescent teenager erect. Just yeah, that fucking and so yeah, when we're getting up to the moment, you take your dick and you kind of tap it. You test the okay, I'm where I want to be, because a nice strong fucking firm fucking cock is gonna like a piece of wood, like. And so that's what I think girls don't understand, that there's two men involved. There's the big man and there's the little man, and there's a dialogue going between the two. But this is a thinking one, and then that one operates purely on hydraulics and emotion, and so you can, through insecurity or through uncomfortability or hitting an emotional trigger, which fucks with the head and stuff, you could shut that guy down. And women, you've been with enough guys, probably know times when it shut down. It's just not working because the connection's off. And when it's really good, you can have sex and then all of a sudden be aroused again and have sex again. Or you can, if your connection's really strong, you can delay orgasm. You can do all sorts of, but it's a conversation that the guy's having with himself while he's also having the conversation with the woman. If he's too much into himself about performing, now he's not dialoguing with the woman in her body. For all I know, it seems like women also have a conversation going on. She can't really come if she's not comfortable and this and that. So if you're too much in your head, your partner's going to notice it, and you're both going to withdraw, even though the bodies are still there. So it's a process. And this queen in Puerto Rico, I was tapping my dick on her on her clit before I entered her. I was just you don't just jump right into it. You play. You take the head of your penis and you rub it on the lips of the labia or whatever. But when I was younger, it was just like, I have a dick, she has a pussy, we're going in there. What is lubrication? What is this or that? It was just like when with Shaw, when we would have sex, I'd be like, oh, it's a little bit hard getting in there at first, but I'm determined. And then you get enough feedback where she's like, it kind of hurts when you just jam it in there. I'm like, oh, there's a reason why. Foreplay, yes. And then people are like, oh, just lube this or that. I never really like that stuff, unless like maybe you just naturally don't get as wet. But usually enough foreplay and enough. So that's what it is. Before you get in there, you take the tip of your penis, you move it around the outside a little bit. Just that's that joke. Just the tip. We're working on. All right, is it lubricated? Are we good? And that's also why it's nice to have sex without a condom, because all of this stuff you're picking up off of your penis, the skin, the friction that the skin is getting as it goes into the vagina. And yeah, and then if she's like, oh, let's go, and I put it in a little bit, but then I'm getting a lot of friction. I'm like, no, let's slow down. Let's work on you a little bit. Let's get you where you need to be. And usually that has been the better approach. So I'm over here tapping her, just kind of like feeling where I'm at and feeling how wet she is. And she's like, do not slap my pussy with your dick. And I was like, whoa, okay. So you're like, so that's where like the queen was like, I laughed. I was like, I'm not going to fuck up this. We had a good connection. And she was very good. She was very good at what she did. That's what I mean about being in charge of your energy. I came to her drunk once. I was like, I'm useless. I won't be able to get it up. I just wanted to make sure I got back to her apartment so she wouldn't think I'm fooling around. I was out in the town. I was like, I got to get back to her place. And her friend gave me a ride because her roommate was like, oh, that's cute. So she gave me a ride back home with her. And I was like, I just wanted to, make it back to your bed tonight. And then she was like, oh, and then she jumped on me. I was like, I'm not going to be, I was shit-faced. I was like, I'm not going to be. She's like, don't, you leave that to me, baby. And she fucking did her magic. And she got what she wanted from me that night. Good women who, good men too. It takes effort, honesty, and sincerity, correct, towards truth to See, Shaz, sex is always one or two thoughts removed from your mind. Start talking about working out, end up talking about sex. But it's okay. So I feel like I was back there. And that's nice when you're alone doing this journey. 20 minutes, that's enough. That's enough distraction. We're going to do 6 hours today because we have to. It goes Monday through Friday. I have to be done by Friday, and I have 29 more videos. 29 divided by 5 is 4 days of 6 and 1 day of 5. And we'll do 5 on Friday. That'll be the break. So today we're going to do 12 to 6. We'll just do 12 to 6. That means the last hour will probably be dark. It'll be okay. And what else? Yeah, what did I just talk about? Working out, my parents, and then sex. That's a fucking clusterfuck of ideas in my head. But I feel kind of sore, and I just jumped out of the shower. And then I just dialogued with my folks this morning. And how did that girl come up? I guess thinking about the energies of the girls in the gym. Oh, that's why I was like, this girl, I was in her hair salon. We just finished the bottle of wine, and I was just kind of enjoying her company, I had an idea of how she thought I was, so I was trying not to be just overly aggressive, play against type, because a lot of girls I notice in my life put you in a category, and then that's going to shut off possibilities. So it's like we're all a lot more complex than we give other people credit for. Or even give ourselves credit for. So I was just like, your company's cool. I don't need to. But then when we were in her hair salon, I was like, I should probably do something, because like we were on the beach, maybe just friends, maybe whatever. But like she's taking me back to her place. Like this isn't her place, but this is like second destination type shit. Like she's giving me options, and so like I think we were like near a couch or something. I pushed her into the couch, started kissing her, and then you really know when you not waited too long, but when like it was kind of on the other person's mind is when you engage and they engage, like they passionately reciprocate, and you're like, oh, okay, this has been on your mind for a minute. But yeah, so it's better to make sure that sometimes you jump in at the first opportunity of possible reciprocation, like, oh, she looked at me, or oh, something. But then if it's there, it's not going away. There's going to be options. So why jump on the first option? I always kind of wait a little bit longer. And sometimes I pass up opportunities that were like, geez, it could have. But then some of my times I've tried to go for it and it hasn't worked out. So you got to use your own judgment. Judgment is a hard thing to learn in life. You got to just experience. And so yeah, that's my thing in the gym. It's like 1 or 2 of the girls is pretty cute. I don't got any money. I might be getting money soon. But I was gonna say I'm working out. Look at that. I'm explaining my life now instead of explaining my life back then. I should just say what's up and my name, just so it's not weird, because I've been working out in that gym for like 5-6 weeks. So I should probably be like, what's up? I'm Shaz. I don't mean to be rude. That's what it is that I'll do that half an hour stretch. So that's the time when I'm going to talk to people. But after that stretch is over and I fucking actually start working out, I'm grunting and huffing until the end. I try not to. So maybe I'll say what's up, but like people sometimes think that like you can have a conversation between the workout, and that kind of like bugs me. I'm looking at the clock the whole time. I want to be in and out. I want to be done my workout by the end of about 30 minutes, and I want to be breathing hard. My heart rate's up, and then I do some sit-ups, and I really bust my ass, and you feel like you get elevated to like a nice like I just did like a little, not a wrestling match. That exhausts you. That's probably the most exhausting thing you could do. But like a little bit. You feel like you pushed yourself a little bit. So that way you can push yourself. Yeah, you're breathing hard and stuff. So Shaz in the gym is kind of funny. There's times when I would talk to someone, and there's times that I'm like, I'm just ignoring everyone right now. So I think that's what I would say, like probably in the stretching, or if I saw them at the beginning. There's this one particular, we always kind of glance at each other. I was going to be like, hey, I don't mean to be rude, but sometimes I'm in the zone. But I respect what y'all are doing. And that's another thing. So what I found about approaching women, approach them on common interest. If you approach them with like, I think you're cute, or I want some, that has a time and place when maybe in the environment you're already qualified as this is an environment for horny people trying to do their thing. But otherwise, usually it's better to be like, I find, just like I like working out. These other people like working out. So like I respect that. And I'm sure that you respect what I'm doing. That's cool. We're all motivating each other. It's like if you're gonna try to go from zero to romance, there's so many other little steps along the way. Just go for like a little baby step. A little baby step. Let things develop. That's the biggest lesson in life. Don't jump from 1 to 10. There's 1, 2, 3. There's so many steps. Name. I don't even know these people's name. So exchanging names probably is the first step. We exchanged plenty of glances. Sometimes that's enough. I hardly ever talk to people at the gym because like I like getting in there and having me time. So I'm actually, for all the years, like the last 5 or 6, I've been working out consistently. Well, at the Equinox in New York, when you go to the pool, I would fucking almost talk to people all the time up there. But that's why I went to the pool, to meet people. But in the gym, I'm there to work. All right, where are we at? Occupy Wall Street took a whole fucking week or something. It took a while. Oh, Brooklyn YMCA. I didn't even know. I'm talking about shit I was supposed to be talking about today. That's beautiful. All right. 1121 Bedford Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. 11216. That's why I shout. Just be sincere, be yourself. Everything works out. Member since July 6, 2012. So what did I do after Occupy Wall Street? Let's go back to the Occupy. I'm going to have to fucking do a whole catch-up of my life. So the last one I did was losing YCGA. But that is dated 2013. I'm heavily into real estate by then. So that's just to show that that's just to remind me that I want to get those. NYCGA.net was a website where we all communicated. If I want to actually do a real book on the history of Occupy Wall Street, I need to get access to that website. Someone has it. I have some internet archives, but there has to be somewhere, unless they deleted it. And then I want to know who deleted it and what their motives were. Occupy Kickstarter, I never really liked that brand. That was just a reaction, but it's okay. I was just being silly. So other than all of that stuff, I hired a guy to follow me. Here, I want to pull that picture of the Brooklyn YMCA because we're going to end there after a half hour of talking. Half hour more talking. I hired a guy March 2011. I just gone we could do this. We're going to do a 5-minute recap of the whole life real quick. I was born Southern California. Let me go over the documents that I've been doing. That's why I have the documents here to help me with a narrative of my life. Proud Pops. I was born. My pops is holding me. Birth certificate. I was born in Glendale in L.A. My dad met my mom on the city bus. He was trying to talk the bus driver into dating him, but that was his sly way of saying, hey, why don't you date me? They will talk. That's what it is. You flirt. You get to know each other. She missed him when he wasn't on the bus. He missed her when she wasn't on the bus. She finally gave him his number, but she was this prudish Christian girl. Oh, I don't give my number to anyone. He's like, come on, I'm not getting off this bus if you don't. She's like, okay, but you won't remember it. He's like, I'll remember it. And then she shouts it out the window, and he calls her that night, and she's living with Aunt Mary. Mary's a really sweet Canadian that took in my mom because she wasn't living with family anymore. She has a big family, but they're all married off. And my mom has a mouth like me, probably. And no, I know she does. That's what we're talking about recently. But Aunt Mary was very sweet, treated her like a mother. My mom was an orphan. Her mom died in childbirth 2 years after she was born. Her father died when she was like 6. She was raised by her older siblings. 5 older brothers and 4 older sisters. 5 women, 5 men. My mom was the youngest in Guadalajara, Mexico. Came over here when she was 17. So now she's 26. She's working in insurance. She meets my dad, comes home to Aunt Mary. Aunt Mary's like, I'm speaking to the most lovely man, Timothy. My mom was like, what? She didn't even remember giving the guy her number. So kind of like me and Shah. I was telling my mom recently, Shah reminded me a lot of her. I think it's hard for you to avoid dating your mother because you're seeking out female energy, and that's the one that you're familiar with. And then some things I don't agree with my folks on things of their belief systems and how they live life. So it's probably good that I've gone past that and I've had other real relationships since. But we're going to get to that. So yeah, sometimes I'll say something and remind myself of something else, but we're trying to be linear, Shaz. We said we were going to do this in 5 minutes, by 35, and then we're getting back to the present, or back to the topic. So Aunt Mary was like, oh, he's such a great guy. So they start dating, and then 6 months later, something happens, and they're going to get married, maybe shotgun wedding. My mom was, to put it in perspective, she had my older brother 6 months after the wedding. So she had like 3 months of, oh shoot, what do I do? Do I go back to Mexico as a single mom, which would have been, she made her a pariah because all of her older brothers are pastors. They're heavily involved in the church. Non-denominational though, not Catholic. Most of Mexico is Catholic, so that's a big deal. So they're Christian, but they're the independent Christians. So anyways, that's what they do. They decide to stick it out. The story is that she was actually going to go to Mexico, but then there's this huge earthquake in LA. I could probably look that up. This is probably, my brother was born in 80, around then. It was a 1980s earthquake. I should probably I've never looked this up. Los Angeles earthquake, 1980. What is this? Is that November 11th? Oh. Eureka. That wasn't it. Mammoth Lakes. There's one of these. There's one there's a couple that year. Maybe it was 79. Because he was born in 80. Imperial Valley 6.4. It's probably one of these. 5.8. No, that was a 78. Why are there so many earthquakes in those years? We haven't had many earthquakes lately. Back then we were rocking. Yeah, that is crazy. It's probably this Imperial Valley 6.41. Wow, that one did 30 million in damage, yeah. So, just focus. So they decide to stay together, act of God, sign of God. And then they, birth certificate, first sales call, they were in sales. She was doing insurance, he was doing insurance. My grandfather on my dad's side, so my dad's father, was training him in insurance. He was going to pass down his book of business, but he died when I was very young, like 2 years old. And so that kind of set my parents adrift. They didn't get much family support. My grandma sold the business and just started living her life, changed all the locks on the doors, was like, all right, I'm moving on. My dad was always kind of like, my dad and my mom were both the youngest, and it shows me just how patterns growing up, and then you attract what you put out there. And so that's why we want to be aware of the type of person that we're becoming, or else we're going to fall into patterns and cycles that we might not be aware of. If you're not happy with your life, or if you think you could be happier, and everyone wants to be happy. Everyone wants to, you have one life. You want to live the happiest, wisest life you can. Then let's be aware of what we're creating. Some of what we're creating could be more in our control maybe, or we can better understand the patterns that we're in. We don't control everything. We probably control a small fraction, but we can adjust. So as the two youngest, they raised the family the best they could. I was always around their sales business, so I had the first sales call, and I was always in sales. They talk, I talk. I guess that's what salespeople do. We also like independence. We don't like having bosses. 6th grade, I gave that speech, for my school. So articulate and intelligent, I guess. Reading a lot. My mom took us to the library and made sure we read a lot. She tells me now that I'm spending time with them, right now in their house, she tells me that she would read a lot. Her brother had a huge library, and she would read everything. The Greek classics, the Book of Mormon. He had all the religious books. He had a bunch of classic literature of the Western canon. So she was always reading, the neglected little youngest reading. So that's what she made sure that reading was important to us. So by my 6th grade, I was at a new elementary school, and they had a school-wide competition where they would select 3 speeches, or maybe even only 2 speeches, to say at the inauguration of the school at the end of the year, our inaugurating class. And mine was one of the speeches. And then I also drew the banner for our 6th grade class. I met this guy named Mike. Mike tried to bully me in our little apartment complex, we were always just barely below middle class. We were just struggling to get into middle class. Sometimes we were on food stamps. Sometimes we were on family services. I remember Christmases where we got donated gifts. Never really had the cool shoes, the cool stuff, but my parents always had enough to buy one nice thing. Like I had glasses that were photo ray that tinted in the sunlight. They did. We balled out when we could. They got me rollerblades. Rollerblades were huge in 92, 94. Everyone had rollerblades, and I was like, all I want is rollerblades. And I got rollerblades. Not the fanciest ones, but I got them so I could like roll with a crew. So, and my crew was like Mike, the bully who like tried to rough me up, but I was just like, I stood my ground and we became friends. And that's my experience on how children become friends. I guess right now we're talking about as a society, bullying is bad, but there's this natural socialization, which I feel like we should be careful how we interfere with. Children establish their own hierarchies for a reason. I don't think it's good that people get picked on, and I definitely appreciate older people or other people who came into scenarios where there was someone being victimized, because that is, yeah, it's the state of the wild. People will prey on the innocent and the weak, but also the innocent and the weak learn how to not be naive and how to get stronger. So you don't want to deprive people of life lessons. There's this, I don't think I said it when I was talking about this stuff. In 7th grade, we had a freshman campus. Oh no, before that we had a junior high, 7th and 8th grades. And Mike, still we're friends, but he's still a bully and he's a dumbass. Or you could call him whatever he is, but he's that type of person. And now he's like, oh, I was so mean in high school. I was like, you were who you were. Your mom was divorced. You didn't have a father figure. What I notice about men is we model on others, and when we're set loose or feral, he had an older brother but no real father, so he was just getting a bunch of testosterone for real. Like his brother taught him, he was left-handed, so his brother taught him there's this other bully type that Mike was going to go and like have a showdown with, and the brother taught him, look, he doesn't know you're left-handed, put out your right hand as soon as he goes to try to shake you. Hit him with your left. This stupid shit like that. I remember his brother holding me down while Mike punched me in the stomach once. Just like toughening both of us up or something. Toughening me up. Just teaching Mike how to be a bully. But we're all just a bunch of fucking dogs nipping at each other. No one's killing each other. But yeah, so Mike has we're running in 7th grade. I just talked about working out at the beginning of this video. 37 minutes now. Mike, so we're in PE, and I'm already have thick skin by then. I'm fucking this hairy since I was 5. So like people like tease you. I'm like, whatever, it is what it is. But I'm thinking, you know what, I should try to run. I'm good at running. And in the Army and later, I started pushing it more. But I never joined the run team. I was on cross country. I thought about it, but it was the same time as wrestling, I think. And we all wrestle, so that's why I got into wrestling. But so I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna try to. So I wouldn't hang out with my friends, and Mike was in my PE class, but with like the other cool bad kids who didn't try because trying is stupid. But I'm like, no, I'm trying to actually I'm trying to explore my body. I was in my own head. I didn't mind. I had my friends, but I didn't mind being on my own a lot, and I was on my own a lot. But then Mike was a good protection, being friends with. My friend was like that. My friend told me, this other kid, Jay, he was like, you want to be friends with the biggest guy. That's how you get by. You go and you find the biggest guy. And he was that type of dude. But he was a small dude. So Mike was a little bit of that. Mike kept the heat off of me from other people because me and him lived in the same apartment complex and we were homies. Once you develop a bond, but that doesn't mean they don't fuck with you. That's what friends do. And they test you and you test them too. I tease him about school because he got bad grades and he toughens me up. But so the whole time we're running around the whole school, and it's this long run, multi-mile run. So we're running around the whole school, and I'm on my own. I'm towards the front of the pack. I'm just fucking. How fast can I actually go? I don't really have the confidence to think I could join the run team at this time, but if I had more training, I probably could have. So I'm just seeing, I could actually run and shit. But Mike is in the back with his fucking, what's that, Fabian or some kid's name, who's one of the cool kids, one of the first kids to say, hey, I'm having sex, blah, blah, blah. You wouldn't even fucking, who knows if these kids are lying and shit. Wearing earrings, and he worked out a little bit, so he gets a little bit of like a buff build, and all of a sudden all the other 7th graders are like, oh shit, he's buff. And so him and Mike are like in the back just shooting the shit, talking about sex and all the fucking South Park shit that children talk about. Yeah, those kids are only in like third or fourth grade, or maybe fifth grade. But yeah, it gets dirty quick. I think by fifth grade we were all talking about sex and stupid stuff. But so there's this other stupid kid who's really nice, but he's stupid, like literally just not that smart. And he's like a white kid, tall and lanky. And so if Mike and Fabian get it in their head to tell this kid that I've been talking mad shit about him, like, oh man, well, David back then, David's talking so much shit, and he knows me and Mike are friends. He's like, no, he's like, talking about he could whoop your ass. And they get this kid so riled up, and I'm pretty sure the kid just was like simple because like I'm sitting on a grassy knoll overlooking some portables. These are all poorish schools in the Inland Empire. We don't have enough classrooms, so we have portable trailers for the overcrowding, and you have some classrooms in the portable trailers. So they're portables, and so I'm sitting on a grassy knoll overlooking those, just being like, in my own like Zen Buddhist, whatever you can call it now, but back then just being like zoned in out, always daydreaming. After this run, like, man, I'm actually pretty good. I remember this all very clearly. And the kid says, hey, and he calls me out, and I look up, and boom, he hits me in the face. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so, like, I mean, ever since I was Mike's friend in fifth grade, it's like, we fight, like, not to a point of people crying, but we submit each other, we roll. That's how I learned all of my moves. Is Mike's watching half WWE, half early UFC. So half of it is trying to power bomb people, but the other half is joint manipulation and good shit and like overhead chokes and stuff. And so this kid just hits me, and I'm like, what? And so I just like, and that's where like instinctually, if you're used to fighting, you're just like, so I tackle him, and I get on him, and I put my knees on his shoulders, and I'm on top of him. I'm like, yo, dude, what are you? I was just like, so like, what are you? Because he's like a skinny, tall. And that's what it is too. Like when people fight, I would see some fights go down in school, and people get so emotional. They're like, and then there's this one kid who I think his name was Solomon. Someone was trying to fight him. He kept jump kicking the kid to keep him away, and it was just so goofy. Like the kid's trying to box him, and the other kid's jump kicking. And I was never, I was never wilding out. I never felt out of control like that. I was just like, why would you? First of all, so I was on top of this kid. I was like, what are you? And then I just let him up. I was like, I'm not. I didn't ground and pound, or I didn't even hit him. I was just like, they're not, you don't walk up to random people to hit him. And then Mike and Fabian are off in the corner just busting up like, and I'm just like, you guys are stupid. But I think I handled it gracefully. I think about stuff like that. Like I never feel out of control. I'm just like, what's going on? Usually I take a minute and I'm able to get my bearing. The kid didn't hit me. It wasn't the first, no, it was probably the first time I got hit in the face. And it definitely wasn't the last, but it's just like, and I tell a story in an earlier video about this kid in a bar who tells me, not a kid, a man, I get smashed in the face right now. It's like, dude, that doesn't end things. That's the beginning of a conversation. We're having a conversation with words. That's the beginning of another conversation. And that's probably not going to end up the way that you think it's going to end up. That's what people who, so that kid obviously had issues. I mean, to be talked into violence that easily, I just looked at him like, why are you doing it? I'm on top of you right now, man. I was like that guy who hit me with a bat. Oh, shit. That ties back to this Brooklyn thing. All right, this is good. 17 more minutes. I'm going to wrap up the narrative, and then I'm going to get back to the Brooklyn thing, which actually has violence in this story, too. And why I mean, that sounds cocky. Like, I always feel calm. But what else can you do? Either things are in your control or they're not. And if they're not in your control, what is in all you can do is plan your move. And as long as you take a space back to breathe, you probably have a move. It might not be a good one, but that's where you have a little bit of sense of humor and a little bit of peace. Then you go down fighting, or but there's always something you can do. There's always a move. And in chess, I lose my queen. I'm like, fuck. Usually within a move or two, you can take their queen, because it was probably a mistake in which you lost your queen. And at higher levels of chess, we're all trying to do these strategies that are multi-move strategies. So if someone blunders, the other person could take the material advantage, but now probably they've lost a little bit of tempo in their strategy. So there's usually a counter blunder to a blunder, because a blunder is an unexpected move. So usually within that unexpected move, now there's an opportunity for you as well, unless they take the material advantage but then quickly shore themselves up and get themselves back onto the path. But that's where a lot of this Zen Buddhist yin yang shit is actually true. And every time of chaos there's opportunity, because chaos is unexpected. And so if you're caught off guard, everyone else is as well. So there's usually enough time to breathe, and there's usually, I never feel like I'm out of options. But because of stuff like this, because all my life I've been like, fucking life hits you in the face sometimes. And you're like, what are you gonna? Well, but that's also, I guess, I don't naturally just get heated. I'm just like, that's not. I do eventually, but I mean, me and Mike had our wrestling matches and stuff where you go too far, and then you're like, all right. And Mike's bigger than me too, so I always felt confident because I try to hang above my weight class. That's, anyways. Randall. Randall was the school class president, so that shows I had smart friends too. I had PhD friends, I had bully friends. I was in academic pentathlon, decathlon, but I had the bad grades. I tried to cover the whole spectrum of like, I knew the girl who had the perfect SAT score. She didn't miss a single thing. But then I also knew the kid who was my best friend growing up, who couldn't afford fucking pencils and paper, and that's why he did bad. But I knew he was a smart kid. He just had wisdom of the other shit. He was a kid who was like, make friends with the biggest guy at school, and me and him would always wrestle too. He's a kid who broke someone's arm. That's what someone was like, talking smack about this family he liked. He really liked the sisters, the oldest sister, or I think it was a middle sister. But this guy was talking smack about the youngest sister. Spreading rumors that he hooked up with her. My friend was like, yo, dude, that family's a good family. Don't. The kid's like, oh, blah, 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 I take karate. He's like, I'll whoop your karate ass. And the kid was like, all right, yeah, after school. And me and Jay, I was like, I got you, Jay. And I went with him and then my dorky friend who later on went to Georgetown and now he's a lawyer. So he wasn't going to be of any help. He already backed out of a fight with me when we were younger. But he's a person. We have 3 people. What can you do? Our crew's small. We were a motley group of fucking disconnected people. We go in there. The kid's like, I can't meet you after school. I have to do homework. But you're going to meet me at 6 o'clock at this one specific location. It's an abandoned pool in a park. And we're like, oh, fuck, this is a setup. Sure enough, we get there, and all of his friends are lining the abandoned pool, and there's like 20 kids there that we don't know. We're like, fuck. We're like, whatever, dude. These kids don't know us. Whatever. Because we're not, these are all like middle class and up kids. And we're like kids from the fucking other side of town. We're like, you guys are all fucking one type of people. And my friend goes to the bottom of the pool, and then the kid's brother is officiating, which is another red flag. And the kid tries to jump kick my friend. My friend picks him up, throws him on the concrete, breaks his arm. And he stands up with his broken arm. He's like, get him. And one of his friends from the pool is like, dude, he just broke your fucking arm. And then someone's like, we need to take you to the hospital. And then his brother's like, you won't break my arm. And my friend was like, yo, I knew this was going to happen. And his brother's like, get out of here then. And we were just like, we'll take that. Well, fucking this. On the way out, we walked really cool all the way out. And then once we climbed, because you had to climb through this fucking broken gate to get in. So as soon as we climbed through the broken gate, there was one small entrance into a place where we were most likely all going to get jumped. And as soon as we climb all out, we're like, as soon as we're out of, like, they can't see us anymore, we all run to the car like, what the fuck just happened, dude? That was the only way that could have worked out in our favor. Stupid shit. All your little hero war stories growing up. High school, the wrestler, wrestling. My friend Jay dropped out of wrestling, but he didn't have family support and shit. I didn't have much, but like, yeah, when you have friends, it's important to have friends less than you so you can have perspective. I had a lot of friends with more than me. Randall went to Harvard. That's a friend with more than me. The Third Estate was my underground newspaper trying to maybe, even back then, tie all these narratives together. What is going on with the world? Even back then, just trying to figure out the lies that we're being told, force-fed since we're young. The explanations for the world around us are not making sense. I was in the Army. I'm doing this so slow. But whatever, we'll figure this out. I was in the Army. I didn't want to go to college. I thought that was lazy. Military intelligence. I was ready to do whatever, but I took tests, and the recruiter was like, "Oh, you're as smart as you say you are." And I remember he told me that because I was a bit of a smartass. He's like, "You're as smart as you say you are. We're gonna put you in intelligence and give you a language." I got a pretty good score on the language test. They gave me Arabic, 2,000. That really gets my craw. 2,000, you give me Arabic, and then fucking George Bush was just elected. No, he's elected later on that year. But the plan to invade Iraq was like already from the Project for a New American Century. He just used a ready-made plan. It was all just sitting there. So I would have been going to Iraq. He gave me Arabic. I signed up 2000, 2005. Luckily, I was a bit of an anti-authoritarian, and I got in a lot of trouble in the military. I had my whole military jacket there. You can read all the hijinks. That's only a fraction of them. There's a lot of stuff I did that I wasn't caught for, which is why I think it's hilarious. But that's a whole nother story. HFC, got out. I was like, let me do the whole 9 to 5 thing. Did that for a little bit, and that ties into the housing crisis because those guys were in the thick of it. And then I started writing a lot. I would write in high school, but poems. I was in a little band, played more music. I learned how to drink, smoke, and play guitar in the military. Lost my virginity when I was 19, starting to get experience with girls, always kind of in my own head in high school. Tried to do the college thing, that didn't really work out. That pretty much shows it. CSUSB Stories, that is based off of, what's his name? A professor who was at CSUSB who transferred from there to Harvard. So now this is also my class consciousness, that people come to the state school for the experience to pad their resume before they go to the fancy school. Like Randall went to Harvard too. These people who are matriculating through the institutional powers. And then a lot of poems that I wrote over those times, which captured my thoughts and my writing style. And my Veda is this homeless guy who was a little crazy, lived with a friend of mine. Oh, we moved to Santa Cruz. Me and a friend, she and her boyfriend had just stopped doing methamphetamine. And I thought, well, we need to get him out of the Inland Empire. Being in the military, I loved the Monterey Bay. I made friends up there in Santa Cruz. So when they got out of the military, because I had to wait until their 5 years was up, I got out in 2. I was like, yo, I want to hit you up. Went up there. I was like, dude, I want to live here. Loved it. And then I was like, told my friends, dude, you need to come up here, you guys. It's really healthy. It's really beautiful people. Lived up there. More poems. Vampires in Iraq. That's where I was like, I was reading a lot. Read a couple hundred books over my lifetime. And this was where I was reading a lot about the Iraq War and what's going on, trying to catch up to the historic record. I have to do that because this is only to 2007. I have 10 years of history to catch up over there. But back then, I was pretty sure I was caught up to what actually was going on as much as you can from the outside. And a lot of bullshit was going on. When I read these, doing the videos, I got really emotional. And then we got, pictures. I was talking a little bit about the girls that I was getting to know. CSUSB transcripts. I just gave up on college finally. Bombed out of it. Amnesty, I went to Mexico to get to know my Mexican side. All of these things that I felt I had to, oh, this is really getting sunny behind me. I felt I had to round out my personality, get to know women, get to know my own family. So Amnesty is when I went to Mexico and lived on my uncle's roof for about a couple months. I wrote that, read poetry by candlelight, smoked weed out of a corncob pipe and shit. It was nice. And then I went back, worked with my folks some more in their insurance agency, made them some money. Never made more than $20,000 probably before I was 30. And then I started making real money in real estate. Rachel White was a beautiful girl, opened up my heart a little bit, taught me, she was a normal one. And I was so outside the dominant structure, like going to school and getting a job and stuff. It was important for me to start interacting with normal ones and know that I can. Because otherwise, if you don't socialize, I don't know. I was a little worried about that. I didn't want to be like the weirdo who wasn't social. So like I was creative on my own, but then I would also make sure that I checked in with what normal people were doing. A lot of poetry came out of the notes about vampires in Iraq. And so that's where I got all of the I Like Americans, fucking Patriots, Monday Morning, Allah Akbar. All of this stuff was a very fertile time for me writing. That year was pretty much just me working my parents' insurance agency and then going to a coffee shop. That's where I met Rachel. But she was on the tail end of that, I think. But that's also gave me the confidence to start approaching girls. Even though I still am not a published author, I was like, some of this shit is good. Some of it has to be good because it affects me. Then I got DUI. Being a little bit too normal, too much going to the bars and doing stuff. Don't have a license, so I go to it's New York, a place where you can live without a license. And my bro was over there. He put me up. That's where I have the online courtship. I ran into Shaw, my first stable relationship. And then I wrote a lot of stuff about her. Had a cease and desist about Craigslist, which ties into some startup ambitions I have. Went back, got my license figured out in California, brought Shaw back to California. I worked in Santa Cruz, brought her back to the things I love. First I showed her Santa Cruz, and then we thought, all right, maybe it's too small of a town. She was missing New York. So we went to Berkeley. Berkeley is in the East Bay, and I thought, all right, I could start my own insurance agency. And she gets to experience San Francisco, the East Bay, and my friends from the military were now, one of them, he was going to law school in San Francisco. I knew a good group of friends over there. But then while I'm at home with free samples of weed, trying to set up a lead database and grow my business as I've learned to grow it from working for my folks in their insurance agency. I was like, I watched that documentary about Granny G, and I was like, the world's so fucked up. I can't put this fucking thing in my chest down about like how we need to be doing something. Someone does. So I got this idea to run for governor of California, something big and flamboyant. We did that for a couple months. Learned a lot. That's probably very formative in my political ideas, doing that. And then Shaw, we ran out of money. Me and Shaw broke off. I was learning how to manage a real relationship, how to manage expectations, and be honest with people when you don't feel like it's working anymore. I went home to my folks, and that's why I wrote Brown Queer High, an idea to organize around identities, which actually is a big problem, I think, right now. But it's because I've already ran through it that I think I could speak on it, because I ran through that thought process, and I don't think it leads to a good conclusion. We need more synthesis and collaboration. But back then I was on that tip. All right, well, maybe we should just empower people to be emotionally driven behind these identities. And then this is one of my favorite things I've ever done, is put these speeches to music, this wisdom that I was like, all right, I'm going to jump back into the world. I think I need another break from politics. It's too much. But I pull that stuff to music to kind of like remember it. And then I listen to it, and it just reminds me of wisdom. And then I went to Vieques, Puerto Rico, which is an amazing place. It's very violent. Someone I know just died recently. I don't know him. I know of him. I don't know many people. I try to keep my circle small. But I know of people, and people know of me. Some people do. And it's one of the most violent places in the It's the most violent place in the United States. And it's not spoken about. It's like 2 or 3 times the homicide rate of Chicago. That's the whole thing. They're invisible people. You don't see these murders on the news because there is no news. But that's what I love about it. It's anarchist. It's chaotic. They burnt a cop car while I was there. Just shit happens, and if shit happens over there, you're not going to hear about it because there's no one to report on it. There's no local paper. There's no nothing. It's an island of 10,000 people, and fucking silence. So it teaches you some things living in a place like that, but a lot about love too, and then tourist girls, and one of those tourist girls I was going to follow back to Seattle, but then my friend, I even forgot to talk about Addie, this girl growing up. I met her when she was 17. I was like 21. Fell in love with her, deeply in love, and she never reciprocated. We developed a good friendship, but I had to learn about boundaries, being taken advantage of by women, and also addiction, and that person being taken advantage of by their addiction, and then that can extend to you. So by then we had settled into somewhat of a friendship, and now the more that someone grows with you in life, the more that they hold part of your story, and I really respect that. The people who've known you since you were young. So she was in Florida, and she had a boyfriend, but she was feeling suicidal. I was like, I'm going to go out there and at least say goodbye to you. I'm never heavy-handed in my approach. Your life is your life, and it's hard for me to feel, I guess I'm a little cold in that sense. Whatever happens, happens. But I was like, I'm going to see you. If this is how you're feeling, I want to see you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I want to see you. So I went out there to see her, and I got arrested for weed possession. Got thrown in jail. And then that stopped me from going to Seattle and see that other girl. And the other girl was like, I emailed her and was like, well, I have a good excuse. I was in jail. And she was like, yeah, but I was at the airport waiting for you. And I was like, fucking druggy girl, but whatever, we're cool. That was just like my life on that, and then it just went that. So I just went back to Puerto Rico. And then my friend had a car. He wanted me to drive across country. And so I went to Chicago, got his car, drove it across. It was one of those high school friends. Drove it across country to California. Had some experience with some girl on that drive that I talked about before. And I met this anarchist kid. I gave two people ride shares across country, an anarchist kid and the girl. And the anarchist kid was like, yo, they're protesting in New York. I was like, what? I'm writing a book about revolution. Complete American's Guide to Revolution. That's why I left Puerto Rico, left Shaw in Puerto Rico. I had asked her to come down. We were trying to rekindle things. Left her in Puerto Rico to go try to sell this book. And I was like, well, let me go to the revolution. It's happening. So I went to the revolution, and then that's what I just did. I just talked about my time in Occupy Wall Street. And after I left there, I went back to Puerto Rico. So I hired a guy for the last day to follow me around. I took 17 hours of video, talked to a lot of people. And then Shaw bought me a plane ticket to go to Puerto Rico. She was like, I miss you. I was like, I miss you, but I need love. I am exhausted. And so I went down there to her arms, and I remember she saw me. She said, you're so skinny. I was emaciated. I was beat down living on the streets of New York for about 5 months, mostly squatting, eating garbage. I'm gonna have to pick up in the next video, but yeah, now we caught up to Puerto Rico, stayed there down there a little bit, and then I went to Brooklyn and the adventures of Shazberg.